Alright, here we go. Coming to you live-ish. Um, Trigger warning, you're about to see my face in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Hello. We're making a risotto, kind of. I'm doing that thing where I've got a recipe, but I'm very loosely following it. Um, I've cheaped out on a few ingredients, let's be real. Um, so, first of all, we've got fennel, we've got half a red onion, should be a whole one. Instead, I've got half a sad old brown onion that I've already cut, kind of. Butter, got this roll of dog roll, essentially. It's probably a little bit much for what we're doing, but I'm just going to use the whole thing because I don't have any other use for it. I'm using walnuts instead of hazelnuts. As you can see, the lovely presentation there, we have some nice roasted hazelnuts. I'm using Orzo instead of risotto rice, which is actually probably better for us because Orzo cooks quicker, and I don't think you need to watch me ladling stock for risotto rice to absorb. I mean, it's probably more exciting, but anyway, here we go. First of all, speaking of stock, I'm going to get some stock going, and I'm going to toast some hazelnuts. So we're going to go over here. We're going to create some fire. Did I say hazelnuts? I meant walnuts. So I've just got these cheap and nasty, it's just like, I don't know, it's just like vegetable stock paste things. In an ideal world, it would be homemade stock simmered for 12 hours, but this is where we are in life. So I'm just dropping those bad boys in there. They're going to dissolve, make a bit of a broth that has some flavour to it, and hopefully makes our orzo taste better. Because really, that's all we need. Just some kind of liquid for the pasta to drink. And then over here, I'm just going to go a handful of walnuts. Yeah, they're more for show, you know. And I'm going to get, oh jeepers. I'm going to try to get this burner to work. There we go, but we don't want that too hot because these will cook real quickly and they'll smell horrible. We probably don't need me for this. We can get rid of me for that. Let's switch back to this guy. Where's me lid? All right. I've also got what I'm pretty sure is thyme. I've just picked this out of the garden. I think it's thyme. I don't know for sure. But anyway, first things first, I'm just going to chop up some veg. I think you need to know here. Ideally, if you're chopping this quite finely, I might just do this a little bit rustic, you know. This is a nice little rustic winter warmer, I suppose, even though it's summer here in the UK, but put a little asterisk next to summer because it's currently blowing a gale and probably about to piss down. So all of that's going to go into my pot along with this, which I've already, I can't remember what I used this for, but I used it the other night and I'd already cut this way, so that's why I got this nice little dice happening. This is not, don't, if you want knife advice, don't look to me, okay? I was going to say I'm a butcher, but that's probably a compliment. All right, I'm just going to go check on those walnuts before they burn. Lightly toasted is what we want, so maybe a little bit more. And then this fennel, I'm Just going to use half. Am I going to use half? Yeah, I might just use half. We'll see what it looks like. So I'm just going to get rid of that. Those fronds actually might come in handy. Make me look more professional than I am. And I'm just going to cut that nasty root bit out. And again, check those nuts. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. So that's going to come out. And in its place, Dutch oven. They're a good pot for this type of thing because it's such a heavy base. They can kind of regulate the temperature quite well. And so first of all, is that a fly? Remove any bugs out of your cooking utensils. Bit of butter, bit of olive oil. Now the reason I go olive oil as well as the butter is because the butter's just going to burn, probably, most likely. Whereas a bit of olive oil stops it from smoking and going all rancid. Okay, so while that's melting, back to our board. And we're just going to... I really love fennel. It's quite a aniseedy flavour, but which can be quite an acquired taste. I think it's lovely. And it's actually dirt cheap. Is that like £1.20 for two fennel bulbs? Like back home, it's like $12 a kilo or something ridiculous. The other thing I've cheaped out on is you're supposed to use, I think it's called Barolo wine. It's an Italian wine. It's one of those ones where it's like it has a bunch of like criteria it needs to meet for it to be considered this type of wine. And I'm just using red wine vinegar. I know it's complete. Could have at least used some kind of red wine, but this will do. This will be fine. Just a nice little, just an acid, really, to be added to it. All right, let's go back to our pot. Pots, plural. Got a wooden spoon happening and a big splash. And we just want this butter nice and foamy, which pretty much is there. So, in with our veg. A little bit of salt. And pepper. And that smells beautiful. I was going to say it's going to smell beautiful, but for you, it's just going to smell beautiful. Let's get a bit of an extraction going. And that was just the sound of me removing the smoke alarm. Alright, back to our board here. Got some thyme. I'm just going to roughly kind of try and strip it, just so we're not eating twigs. Probably should save a little bit of this for a nice garnish, but it's alright. We have these fennel fronds. They'll look lovely on top. Now this recipe. So I've had this Jamie Oliver cookbook for a while, and I got one of those vegetable boxes where they just send you random stuff that's about to expire or is a little bit funky looking or whatever. And so I got this fennel. I don't know what to do with it. And I got to tell you, underrated is getting some random veg that you're not familiar with. It just kind of broadens your horizons a bit. I started making this and it immediately entered the repertoire of regular dishes. All right, so this now that our aromatics have sweated a little bit, I'm just going to add that to there. And turn our stock down so it's nicely simmering. Crank that one up a bit. And sausage time, I guess. It's 400 grams. Yeah, it's probably going to be a good amount actually. So you can just get sausages, but then you have to squeeze them out of the skins. Then you have to deal with the skins. So I've just got this, which is essentially sausage that hasn't been made into sausages, I guess. I'm just going to drop that in there, and then I'll mash it up with a wooden spoon. And it's actually quite a nice protein to put into your like pastas and things like that. Like instead of just plain old mince, like I guess it is essentially minced meat, but yeah, it's very sort of lightly spiced pork mince essentially. Now, one thing I will just as a little safety announcement here. This is hot. The whole thing is hot. That handle was hot. Hopefully, I don't forget that piece of information throughout the course of this video. Right, so I'm just going to cook that off for a few minutes. Hopefully, get a little bit of browning happening. Meantime, My walnuts, I'm just going to crush them by hand, really. This would be a perfect job for a mortar and pestle if I had one. Beautiful. What is that? Okay, we've got colour. Probably a little bit too much colour than I was anticipating. But that's alright, that's just a hot part of the pan. Okay, now, that probably needs more salt. Obviously I've salted the veggies, but that sausage meat probably needs more salt. But that's okay. What I'm going to do now is add the orzo. Approximately 7 portions. I'm going to do half of this packet of orzo. Now you will see what that looks like once I stir it. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to do it. Am I going to do it? Yeah, we'll do 3/4. And then that should be a little orzo snack. Yeah, it looks good. It looks like a nice ratio of veg to meat to pasta. Now, another little safety announcement is if you're like me and you just use a tea towel as a, you know, just be careful that there's no stragglers going up under the pot and into the flame, because especially when you've already disconnected the smoke alarm. Although I will die on the hill saying you don't need a smoke alarm in the kitchen. Hopefully not literally, but most of the time you're in front of the fire, and I've created fire anyway. Okay, so that's getting toasty. Don't worry about all those burnt bits of the pan. This stuff here is going to deglaze all of that off. All right. Speaking of deglaze, this would be when you hit it with some wine. In my case, vinegar. And this is going to smell real funky. Me personally, I love the smell of vinegar, so I'm okay with it. Now, I think with Orzo, you don't need to be so like, um, you don't need to be so dramatic with like going ladle by ladle by ladle by ladle. Like I think you can dump the whole lot in there. I'm not going to, but I believe you can just dump all your stock in there. It's just like a durum wheat, is it? I believe it's just like a durum wheat pasta. Durum, or however you say it. Yeah, durum wheat semolina. Whereas risotto rice is a borea rice, I think. Again, I don't do any research. My preparation starts like 10 minutes before the video starts. Well, that's a lie. I do a little bit of thinking, but for the most part, I'm not doing that much research. All right. Basically, you just want the smell of the vinegar to burn off a bit, and get a little bit of toast going on your everything else. And once that happens, you can start adding this stuff over. And I think just for the sake of not making a big mess, I'm just going to pour. What's that? 500 mils, a couple of cups worth. And just be careful because that steam right there, that's hot. And you can sort of start to scrape all the goodness off the bottom of your pot. But obviously you don't go too rigorously, otherwise you slosh it all around, make a big mess, and then catch fire, and dinner's ruined. Your date's ruined, night's over. You've lost your security deposit on your flat. You break your precious wooden spoon that's been handed down through the generations. There's basically a bunch of different scenarios that are not ideal. So I'm just slowly working around, scraping what I can off. This doesn't look too appetizing, it just looks like a bowl of brown slop, but trust me, it's delicious and it's very cheap. Like all in, this is probably probably like 8 pounds for the food here, but it's going to be a good like 5 or 6 portions. All right, so you can kind of start to see, maybe, I don't know, the steam might be telling its own tale, but you can sort of start to see where I've been scraping. If I can get it, like you can see some whiteness. You can see the clean pot. The end of the tunnel, the white enamel is there. And you want all this brown stuff. That's all the good. That's all the fond. That's all the Maillard reaction or whatever it is. That's all the like cancerous carcinogen. The reason why barbecue tastes good, basically. Because anything I've learned in life, food that hurts tastes the best. Spicy food, pointy nacho chips that get stuck in your throat. Other illicit substances. Right, now I doubt this is anywhere done, but I'm just going to have a quick taste just to see how close to al dente we are. And again, if this was a borio rice, it'd be like an hour of this, basically. Just going a little bit more stock, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. A little bit more salt. So once that stock burns off, we're going to start burning again. So basically just keep a little bit of moisture in there. Obviously, the more you need moisture in there for the pasta to absorb. You know, just a little taste. Yeah, that's good. Now, I'm going to go a little bit easy on the salt because I'm going to add a bit of Parmesan cheese, which is basically just a big block of salt. So just bear that in mind with your finished result, and it's, you know, especially if you're going to dollop salted butter or whatever in there, like adjust accordingly. Okay, so I'm just going to grab a grater. I'm going to grate this up. I've got my fennel fronds. I've got my walnuts. And basically, all we're going to do is just wait for this orzo to plump it up, get full of delicious veggie stock, and we'll serve up. So I'll leave you to the beautiful sight of a bubbling pot, and I'll grate some cheese. It does actually look quite cool. It's like a pancake almost. So as I was thinking about how I'm going to cook this meal, I was thinking, shit, this probably isn't going to be a very good one to film because it's just going to be literally watching this happen for like half an hour to an hour or whatever it would take. And then when I grabbed all the ingredients, I realized, shit, I grabbed orzo, not a borio rice, which ended up being a great thing because now I don't have to cut this video up and have a little time lapse portion in there. Instead, we can just let it roll, and hopefully it won't be too boring. And if not, there's a settings button down there. You can actually go playback speed ×2. I'm not gonna lie, I do it quite a lot. Alright, so I'm just going to grate up some palm. I'm going to put a bunch in there, and then I'm going to put a little bit to the side to just as another little, what do you call it? Dressing topping. I've forgotten the word now. I really have forgotten the word. Alright, so I've gone with about that much. I'd say 3/4 is going to go in there. I'm only serving up 2 bowls, so just need a little bit as a... I still can't think of it. No. Garnish, 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 garnish. Here we go. I got there in the end. Alright, back to our pan. I think there is actually like a delicacy in a lot of countries where the burnt rice on the bottom of the pot is like, that's the goods. The lucky family member gets that. So the good thing here is you can't really add too much stock. We can, but if you add too much, it's fine. All the water bubbles away and evaporates, and all this flavour stays. Oh, we're pretty much there. Yeah, that's good. So, just going to get that last little bit of stock to burn off, and hopefully I'll get the last little bit of burnt bitsy on the bottom off. I'm going to add some cheese into this. Get a final little taste for salt and pepper. And then we'll plate up. This is a great one. I used to do this like on a Sunday afternoon. This would be my meal prep for the week. So this would be my lunch, and I'd just have a container, scoop some slop into it, and it's so easy. Don't have to make sandwiches. Don't have to do any real work. Just about a half an hour of cooking on the weekend. Job done. I love these types of pans. I cook so much in these. And they're great for deep frying. I know I probably shouldn't promote deep frying, but again, because they're so thick, if you got hot oil in there, you dump a piece of ideally not cold meat, but obviously the meat or whatever you're putting in there is going to be colder than the oil. It doesn't drop the temperature of your oil so much because the pan's hot. Like everything's just. Yeah, I'm just literally describing the word regulated, but I think that's pretty good there. I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to add some cheese. That's just going to make like a nice bit creamy, saucy boy. Again, you can add like cream and butter and all that stuff and make it taste really good though. I've got a family-sized tray of tiramisu waiting for me for dessert, so I better not. Alright, plate this bad boy up. First of all, bowl. Couple of ladles full there. I'm going to do some parm on top. And a bit of pepper. I'm going to drop some walnuts from a height. And I'm just going to do a little bit of fennel. France. And there we have it. Sausage and red wine vinegar risotto. I mean, that's it's pretty close. Mine's obviously a lot browner. I would say that's probably to do with the stock more than anything, because that's quite a yellowy looking stock. Um, but there you have it. Sausage, red wine, risotto, orzo, whatever you want to call it. JB, he probably doesn't need the book sales. I'm sure he's doing all right, but there's quite a few good recipes in this. Um, Obviously, much more suited to the northern hemisphere, just with the ingredients. You know, that's what I've found with Jamie's books in the past, anyway. But have a good one, guys. That's a great dish, nice winter warmer, good for prepping, good times. See you next time, eh?